Hi, I'm Alan R. Welcome to MotorMatters, your channel that brings you the latest, the greatest, the newest and the best in motoring in South Africa. So subscribe now. Hit that button if you haven't subscribed before. Then you'll know and you'll see everything immediately as we publish it. So what have we got for you today? Toyota. You may notice and you may remember in January this year, not long ago, they launched the facelifted version of the Corolla Cross. I was at the launch, there are videos on the channel, and you can immediately tell the facelift by this new grille over here. Body colored, as you can see very obviously, but it is a very quick clue. Something else to show you. If you take a look at the badge, I've spoken about this in the past. Note the blue on the badge, because this is the hybrid version. Talk a lot more about that during this review. They've also changed a few little changes on the front end. You can see now these daytime running lights that run across there, LED headlights, all features like that. Also keep in mind this is the top spec XR model, which means it's got a lot of extra features. And there's a lot about that with the facelift that is very, very important and pertinent to this test. Cladding around the wheel arches as you'd expect and down along the bottom, all that you expect from your crossover SUV. And again, with XR, you get these nice diamond cut alloy wheels over here, 18 inches, clad in Bridgestone rubber. So nice features, nice trim, everything that you expect. One of the nice features you do get, keyless entry with, as you see, the mirrors folding in. That's on XR, obviously. Let's take a look at the space in the back seat while we're busy here. Driver's seat set for myself, as you expect. Lots of good legroom. Headroom's pretty good. I must say, I'm finding the angle of the backrest on the back seat reclining a bit more than on some other cars. Well, could be a lot more comfortable that way. You've got to take that into account. And you do have two, they're a bit hidden away, but two USBs down here. So that's also a nice feature to have. Means you're catering to the family. Two at the back. You can see the burgundy color leather interior. I'm not saying it's genuine leather. Let's not go into a discussion about that. But nicely finished off. Again, telling you it's the top spec model, including the burgundy leather effect on the door panel even as well. So those are nice features and nice to have and befitting of the top model in the range. You come round to the back and you've got a spoiler over the rear tailgate. As I said to you, it's XR hybrid HEV, and as is modern, no exhaust that show, but it's not a performance racing car, so I'm not going to complain. Another nice upgrade on the facelift version is the fact that you now have the powered tailgate on XR models, not on the lower specs. Cover over there. You've got your floorboard, and you've got a space saver spare wheel underneath there. So it's not a full size, but you know what? As long as you've got a spare wheel in today's world, I'm a happy camper. So it's time for the Allen test, isn't it? Let's go, folks. What I can tell you is I've left the shelf in place so it does protrude a little bit. You know what? This is about a 1 3/4 Allen boot. It's pretty big. You can see I'm easily going to clear the tailgate closing. Yep, official rating, 1 3/4 Allens. There we go. Now, the Corolla Cross, which is proudly built at the Prospecton Durban plant in South Africa, locally produced, keep that in mind, comes with two engine options. Both 1.8 litre, but you get the normal and the hybrid. I'm a little bit confused when they quote the power figures for the two, because they quote a lower power figure for the hybrid model. I've driven both, and I can tell you it feels way more powerful. But they say 90 kilowatts and 140 Newton meters plus electric. They quote 103 for the naturally aspirated. So I don't know, but all I can tell you is test drive one for yourself Test drive both versions and you'll understand what I'm talking about. And then think about the fuel savings from the hybrid, because that's its biggest plus. Drive the front wheel through its electronic CVT. I don't understand the technicalities, but I've been told very clearly it's not just a standard CVT gearbox. So let's check it on the road and let's have a look inside. Cruising on our favorite Hearties road as always. Yes, I know, we love this route. I've got to tell you, the Corolla Cross actually is surprisingly smooth, comfortable, very, very smooth and relaxing ride. It's one of those cars that is just comfortable. I've got to use that word. I'm sitting at 5.2 litres per 100 at the moment in this hybrid, which I think is absolutely exceptional. Bit of traffic, so you've got to go by them as well, of course, but it doesn't matter. The gearbox, well, it can get a bit noisy on an uphill especially, but I mean, that's about the only thing I can pick on with this car. Beyond that, nice big center infotainment screen, aircon system with buttons that you press, not just on the screen, thank you. And with the facelift came, of course, the higher safety spec, the higher ADAS with blind spot warning and lane keep assist, all those sort of features that, you know what, the opposition have been putting into their cars, and Toyota have caught up, well, made sure they stay with the market by doing things like that. Android Auto is with a cable, that's not a big deal, I can live with that. Full leather trim, of course, on this XR model, so you've got lots of features, lots of luxuries, and very importantly, as I said, the fact of the matter is they've kept up with the safety spec in particular, which I think was a really important feature. You want to be relevant and you want to be the market leaders like Toyota are. How do you stay the market leaders? Well, you update and you add spec, and that's always such an important thing to do. So just overall, it's a nice relaxing cruiser. Obviously, in my book and from previous experience, at its total best on pure economy in an urban situation. You can even go 30-40 Ks on pure electric power if that's what you want to do. So it's got all of that and all those advantages. It's just no surprise it's been a success story for Toyota South Africa, and these updates will make sure it stays in that category. Jumping in behind the wheel, let's take a look at the pertinent figures. Well, 400 kilometers, 0.1, how's that? On this test so far, 5.2 litres per 100 average. And I can tell you that's both open road and urban cruising. Now, a lot of cases, people will tell you urban cruising is actually the better in this car because of, obviously, the hybrid. There you can see still 238 kilometers left on this tank. So that's pretty good. It's not a big tank, I can tell you that much. But you've got TFT instrumentation, digital instrumentation. It's got everything, and it can tell you, it says it's ready. And the engine is actually, well, it's powered up, but it's obviously in electric mode right now. Let's just get that correct. You come down, you've got your multifunction steering wheel over here. You've got cruise control. You've got lane keep, lane departure, and all the ADAS. Now, that was something very pertinent that I want to discuss before we go anywhere else, is to tell you that on the facelift, they added a lot of extra safety features. So, as I said, you've got the forward collision warning, you've got lane keep, lane departure, you've got blind spot warning, cross traffic warning. I think you get the point, and they added all of those to keep up with, of course, the competition that's coming in so heavily at the moment onto the South African market. We all know who I'm talking about, don't we? Another feature of the facelift was the much larger infotainment touchscreen, which you can see works very nicely, gives you everything you want. I'm on the home screen at the moment. Of course, what it does give you as well is a really decent reverse camera with the overhead view as well. And that's really a nice feature to have, isn't it, that overhead view? So keep that in mind as well, please. Buttons over here for volume control for your sound system. Again, convenient. Obviously, you've got on the steering wheel, but that's nice for your passenger, isn't it? That they can use those as well. You come down below, you've got your dual zone climate control with proper buttons. And I keep telling that lately, but I find it's very, very important. So again, now you've got this sort of soft touch to the dash with the stitching. So it really feels neat, well put together, and very, very smart. Interestingly, you've only got a single USB for the front. And I don't think it's a complaint, but just a comment. Android Auto or Apple CarPlay is wired only. It's not wireless. But I can live with it. You've got a place for your cell phone over here, but it's not an inductive charging pad. A little bit surprised by that. And in front of you here, you've got 3 buttons. You can switch off the traction control if you're silly enough to do it. That one keeps you in EV mode up to a certain speed. Or I noticed that Toyota said it's if you don't press the accelerator too hard. And then drive mode over there, there is a power mode, they call it, not a sport mode, which does make a little bit of a difference and give you a little bit of extra shunt. Your gear lever is completely standard. I don't have to say anything about that. And you've got an electronic parking brake, again, a feature of the facelift, and a heel hold. I'm not quite sure why you need that, with glossy black trim around you over there. So you've got all the features. You've got everything you want. As I say, they have really upgraded on the ADAS side of things, and a few changes on the exterior, bigger screen, better connectivity, a few things like that they've really changed and made a difference with it. Another feature, as far as I'm concerned, from a safety point of view, 7 airbags standard across the range. Now, I say across the range. I mentioned you've got the non-hybrid and the hybrid version, and all of them with CVT automatic gearboxes. Now, my one real picky point on this car is, and if you're going to go test drive one, please take it on a freeway and take it up an uphill. Because you will find that the gearbox does, can I use the word scream at you a little bit, when you're accelerating up a hill. Up to you, I just want to point it out. And I'll leave it there. The non-hybrid versions, you get 3 spec levels: XI, XS, XR. The XR, I've said to you, has the leather, has the ADAS, has the keyless entry, and a few other little bits, obviously, to justify its grade and pricing. They start from 414,000 Rand for an XI non-hybrid. So just keep that one in mind. Your cheapest hybrid is the XS, which comes in at 494,400. And then this one comes in at 545,200. There is also a GR Sport one, which just adds a few extra touches cosmetically, no changes to anything else, and that goes up to 561. So that's the price range. So this one, as we're in at 545, which is great value as far as I'm concerned, and comes a lot closer to challenging, of course, I'm going to use the word, the Chinese competition that is so prominent in this market category. And just keep that bit in mind. I think that's a very, very important fact to remember. The other thing is that I've done 5.2 liters per 100 in the hybrid version. The figure I've seen for the non-hybrid version is about 8 liters per 100. So you're going to be saving about 3 liters per 100 by using the hybrid version, if you use it right and if you drive it right. It's a massive difference. It's not a small difference. And there's only about a 30,000 Rand price difference between the 2 versions. So what am I telling you? That if it was up to me, I would only look at the hybrid version. But that's me, not you. I'm just telling you where I would go with mine. There's lots of competition, as I've said, but it is a Toyota. They're not the market leaders in South Africa for nothing. And the product certainly is solid, well put together, beautifully crafted, and feels like it's going to last a lifetime. For MotorMatters, I'm Eleanor. See you next time.